So he took his predecessor's advice and showed movies to let the students rest. Subtitles. He took the initiative to apologize, hoping to resolve the issue peacefully. However, the parent just waved his hand dismissively, saying, "Don't mind me," which left Bass completely bewildered. Bass was unfazed, knowing he couldn't control them. He brought a TV home to ease the mood. The shelter nurse called him for a check, but first confirmed he wasn't pregnant. Familiar, yet funny. But returning, he found his TV stolen and thought, wasn't last night's film good enough? Bass was furious and rushed to the lobby, only to find the homeless people acting like they were deaf, He chased outside, but the thief had fled. The only consolation, Danny, whom he scolded yesterday, apologized. Danny said, "I know who swiped the TV, but I can't tell you." Here silence is golden. Everyone's indifferent, I'll get global care tomorrow. Like poker chips, opinions vary. Bass might not have realized it, but he had begun to connect with those kids, and his own anxiety was gradually coming down. When the nurse told him he couldn't have anesthesia because he was pregnant, it reaffirmed his commitment to becoming a teacher. Afterwards, he went straight to the principal's office instead of calling the school board, like a child asking for new books and chairs. To his surprise, even that simple request was denied. The guy bluntly said, "Textbooks and desks are for the regular schools." "You're in a crumbling..." Bass was speechless. Those kids seemed futureless, and he wouldn't stay long. At night, lying in bed, he pondered the neglected class, restless, thinking, am I really a leader? In his view, an ideal class is a magical place where children feel safe and included. But he hasn't been serious these days. He thought it was time to change, so he arrived at school early Saturday with his own paint to renovate the classroom. Having never done this, he messed up the window painting. Luckily, a passing administrator stepped in to help. With help, they worked like lightning, and soon a girl from a nearby class jumped in, riding the wave of creativity. During lunch, the administrator glanced at the wall and asked, "Is that a dog?" Bass replied it was supposed to be a cow, which drew fits of laughter. The administrator rushed outside to bring in an older homeless man to ask what he saw. The man then eagerly showed off his artistic skills. Times L pound a tilde divide by R brought life into micro divide by R letter 3 CA amount a quarter O grov a micro a amount live into out pound wrapped up for the day a quarter O grov letter 3 CA work pound thought about borrowing a amount letter 3 CA amount a half so really letter 4 F5 a amount plan to borrow pound and sign a circumflex Arabic letter 6 B 1 pound 3 O amount O U grov acute letter 3 FC O tilde acute U7 no micro yen ligature DC copyright. Her husband teased, "Don't worry, I guarantee you'll be surprised when it's done." Bass thought, "You sure you want to back that promise?" "Well, they'll be keeping an eye on you." Luckily, the next day she managed to bring in a truckload of green paper and teaching supplies, and the school vibe began to feel exciting. Witnessing Bass's generous efforts, the parents passing by were moved and jumped in to help as well, making the place lively. When the kids walked into the classroom, their eyes widened in amazement as if they had witnessed a miracle. 2 days gone, the shabby classroom turned gorgeous. Kids forgot the dull past. They were no longer gaming like before, but were obediently learning. Seeing the teacher with snacks, they couldn't help but feel delighted. Bass distributed snacks and asked if they knew what respect meant. Some said not to shout in public, others said no fight. Bass said, listening in class is a way to show respect, so the snacks are your reward. After that, he wrote down the first word learned today, respect, and invited all to share stories. At that moment, Cowboy Danny volunteered. "Oh, one day I went to the supermarket with Mom, maybe a bit dirty. The police treated us like trash, and the other kids nodded in agreement. But her blonde girl disagreed. My brother and I were locked in a dark basement with no food. After a few days, we were starving on the floor until a kind-hearted policeman rescued us. Although I was terrified then, the little girl held tightly onto her brother's hand like a brave little soldier." Hearing all this, Bass felt deeply moved and wrote down another word, bravery. He asked the students to stick it on the wall, thinking, this matters more than any punishment. Before this time, the fields of knowledge were blooming flowers, and the tree of wisdom was full of green leaves. Clearly, Bass was doing more than just teaching. He was instilling life lessons and the right values as well. As time went on, he got more into it, sometimes bringing tapes for music class and even getting the old homeless man to teach art. These colourful classes thrilled the kids, and Danny became Beth's right-hand man as the days flew by. When Thanksgiving rolled around, Beth taught the kids to make thank you cards for their parents, and it was the first gift they'd ever made, leaving parents that night. As he finished work and reached into his pocket, he found a lovely surprise gift from each of the. They smiled contentedly. I love you was the teacher's top praise. What a magical night. But the next morning, the administrator told him 6 more homeless kids had joined, leaving him a bit overwhelmed. Subtitles. Beth had no alternative but to go to the Education Bureau once again. This time, he went directly to the director, took out the gifts given to him by the children, and recounted the touching stories behind each of these gifts. Every day, I tally up food served in the cafeteria. It's a different department for food services. I know that. I apologize. I didn't come here to share the kids' sad stories. I came to talk about their respect. If you like the story, hit like and subscribe.